Welcome to our exploration of Renaissance engraving techniques. Engraving emerged as a revolutionary art form during the Renaissance, flourishing between the 14th and 17th centuries across Europe. One of the most significant innovations of engraving was the ability to create detailed prints that could be reproduced multiple times. During this period, engraving evolved from a simple craft into a sophisticated artistic medium. Renaissance engravings influenced visual culture throughout Europe, enabling artistic exchange between different regions. The Renaissance period, spanning from the 14th to the 17th centuries, saw engraving techniques develop and flourish across Europe. Renaissance engraving techniques were remarkable for their precision and detail, allowing artists to create works of unprecedented complexity. In the following sections, we will explore the specific tools and techniques used by Renaissance engravers. Renaissance engravers worked with specialized tools that required immense skill to master. The primary instrument was the burin. This specialized tool consisted of a steel rod with a sharp, angled tip set in a distinctive, mushroom-shaped wooden handle. Beyond the burin, Renaissance engravers relied on several other essential tools to create their masterpieces. Scrapers were used to correct mistakes and remove unwanted marks from the metal plate. Burnishers helped smooth and polish the plate surface, creating different tonal qualities in the print. Various needles were employed for creating the finest details and delicate lines in the engraving. The quality of these tools directly affected the precision of the final print. Master engravers often crafted their own custom burins to achieve their distinctive artistic styles. These specialized tools allowed Renaissance engravers to create works of extraordinary detail and beauty that continue to inspire artists today. Renaissance engravers favored copper plates for their ideal balance of hardness and malleability, allowing for precise line work while remaining durable enough for multiple prints. The preparation process began with hammering. Craftsmen would hammer the copper plates with precision and patience until they achieved perfect flatness. This eliminated any imperfections that could interfere with the engraving process. After hammering, the plates underwent a meticulous polishing process using progressively finer abrasives. Engravers would start with charcoal for initial smoothing, then move to pumice stone, and finally use special burnishing stones to achieve a mirror-like finish. As a final step, many engravers applied a thin layer of wax or oil to the now mirror-smooth surface. This created a slight contrast that helped them see their engraved lines more clearly as they worked. The entire preparation process could take several days to complete, but this investment of time was essential for achieving the exceptionally crisp, clean lines that distinguished fine Renaissance engravings. The signature technique of Renaissance engraving involved pushing the burin through the metal to create clean, tapered lines. Let's examine the proper way to hold and use a burin. The engraver would hold the burin almost parallel to the plate, with the handle nestled against the palm. The tool is guided using the palm and fingers, providing stability and control. The key distinction of this technique is that the burin is pushed forward through the metal, never pulled. This allows for precise, controlled lines. By varying the angle and pressure, Renaissance artists could create lines of different widths and depths. A shallow angle produces thin, delicate lines. Medium pressure creates standard lines for primary details. A steeper angle creates deep, bold lines for emphasis. The most skilled engravers could vary pressure within a single stroke to create tapered lines of extraordinary expressiveness. This technique required tremendous control and years of practice to master. Renaissance engravers spent years perfecting their craft, as the slightest tremor or misjudgment could ruin an entire plate. The technique demanded exceptional hand control and patience. It was this mastery that distinguished the great engravers from mere apprentices. Renaissance engravers developed sophisticated methods for creating the illusion of light, shadow, and texture. Masters of this craft could create stunning visual depth on a flat metal surface through careful manipulation of lines. The primary technique was hatching, parallel lines placed close together. By varying the spacing between lines, engravers created different tonal values. Cross-hatching, where lines intersect at various angles, allowed for even more complex tonal gradations and textures. Some engravers also employed stippling, tiny dots, to create softer transitions, especially in delicate areas like faces. Masters like Albrecht Dürer and Marcantonio Raimondi perfected these techniques, creating subtle gradations by varying the spacing, thickness, and direction of their lines. For delicate subjects like faces, stippling was especially valuable, allowing for the softest transitions between light and shadow. The secret of swelling lines was one of the most difficult and closely guarded techniques in Renaissance engraving. Swelling lines are lines that gradually thicken or thin to create a sense of depth and volume, giving engravings a three-dimensional quality. Let's compare regular lines with swelling lines to understand the difference. Notice how the swelling lines create a sense of depth that the regular lines cannot achieve. Renaissance engravers achieved this effect by subtly changing the angle and pressure of the burin while maintaining a smooth, continuous cut. Master engravers like Hendrik Goltzius became famous for their virtuosic control of this technique. Goltzius created lines that seemed to breathe with life and dimension, giving his prints an almost three-dimensional quality that amazed his contemporaries. Renaissance engravers faced a unique challenge. They had to work in reverse, creating mirror images of their intended designs on the plate. When engraving a plate, everything had to be mirrored, as the printing process would reverse the image again. To manage this reversal, engravers developed several transfer techniques. Many used red chalk transfers, where a drawing would be rubbed onto the plate with red chalk dust. Others traced their designs through oiled paper, which became translucent, allowing them to see through to the plate below. The most skilled could draw directly onto the plate, mentally reversing the image as they worked. This required exceptional spatial thinking and planning. The ability to mentally reverse complex imagery while engraving was a mark of true mastery. The printing process was the crucial final stage in creating Renaissance engravings. First, the engraved metal plate was carefully inked. The viscous ink was methodically pushed into all the engraved lines and grooves. Next, the surface of the plate was meticulously wiped clean, leaving ink only in the engraved grooves. This step required great skill to clean the surface while preserving the ink in the recessed areas. Dampened paper was then carefully placed over the inked plate. The paper needed to be properly moistened to absorb the ink effectively during printing. The plate and paper were then run through a roller press. This specialized press applied tremendous pressure, forcing the dampened paper into the ink-filled grooves of the plate. This process transferred the image to paper in reverse, creating the final print. The paper now bore a mirror image of the engraved design, with rich, crisp lines where the ink had transferred from the plate. The quality of the final print depended on several critical factors: the ink consistency, paper dampness, pressure applied during pressing, and the technique used for cleaning the plate all significantly affected the final result. Renaissance master printers developed exquisite techniques to achieve the finest print quality, turning engraved plates into artworks that could be reproduced and shared widely. Renaissance engraving techniques left a profound legacy that continues to this day. These techniques revolutionized visual communication, allowing detailed images to be widely distributed for the first time in history. These methods remained largely unchanged until the 19th century, showing their remarkable longevity in the history of art. Renaissance engraving influenced later printmaking techniques like etching, mezzotint, and aquatint, which built upon the foundation laid by early engravers. The precision and beauty achieved by Renaissance masters continue to inspire contemporary artists and printmakers. Their technical innovations laid the groundwork for modern reproduction technologies that shape our visual world today. From revolutionizing communication to inspiring modern artists, Renaissance engraving techniques continue to influence our visual world.